Hey guys, and welcome back. As you can tell, I got just a little crazy with the color for this tutorial, but honestly, I was getting really bored of the neutrals and the browns, and I decided I needed to spice it up a bit. So I went in with a graphic liner and this explosion of yellow in the inner corners. I have been loving bright matte shadows for inner corner highlights versus a really sparkly eyeshadow for an inner corner highlight. Also, if anything, I hope this tutorial is just entertaining for you. I hope it brings you a ton of inspiration and gets your creative juices flowing, because always remember, makeup is meant to be fun. Don't take it so seriously all the time. So if you guys are interested and want to see how I created this look, keep on watching. Alright guys, so as you can see, I already have my winged liner done on this eye, and I actually got this tip from my friend Jaclyn here on YouTube. I was watching one of her videos and she mentioned that it's a good idea to always start with the eye that is more difficult, because it'll be easier for you to match the side that's easy for you to do with the bad side. So this side, my right side, is always a little more difficult for me. My eye shape is a little different. I feel like my lid sags a little more on this side. So I did the difficult side first, and now I'm gonna move on to the left side. I have my brows done, and all I did was apply the Tarte Aquacealer to my lids to even out my eyelids. I'm actually gonna do it on this side. I haven't done it on this side yet, because I'm not going to be doing any eyeshadow really. I just want to have a really even, smooth eyelid. I mean, we're going to do a little bit of eyeshadow, but not really on the lids. Freaking love this concealer. And the foundation, which I'm going to be using today too. And I'm going to set that concealer with the Mercier Transluscent powder and a beauty blender. And for the liner, I'm going to be showing you guys a different technique. Normally, I use my favorite angled liner brush, which is the number 41 brush from NARS. And I think for the most part, you guys always see, or the most popular technique for winged liner is to use an angled brush and to always start with the flick first and then connect the rest of the eyeliner. I'm going to show you guys a different way. I don't know if it's more difficult. Sometimes for me, it's easier, especially on my difficult side. I find that doing this technique is easier on this eye. So think of this almost like how you would apply a liquid eyeliner. So I'm gonna be using a really fine point brush. This is the Smith 202, and I'm gonna be using the Tarteist clay paint liner. And so again, rather than start with a flick first on the outer corner of the eye, I'm literally just gonna sweep it across. So I'm just doing it in one motion. And then I'm going to connect that flick. That was so nerve-wracking because I had a venti coffee. So I was so shaky. I was like, I'm gonna jack this up. And then I'm just gonna sharpen up the bottom by using concealer and an angled brush, so it looks really sharp. Now before I go in with the yellow eyeliner, I'm going to apply the yellow eyeshadow in the inner corner. So I'm going to be using this yellow eyeshadow from Morphe. It's called Sunflower, and I'm going to apply it to the inner corner with a Luxie 231 brush. And when I apply eyeshadow to the inner corner, I don't just keep it right here. I make like almost like a C shape and kind of go crazy with it. And this is with any highlighting shade that I use. I never just keep it in that little corner. So start feathering it towards the rest of the eye. And then I'm going to take my Sigma E40 brush and just blend out the edge. And now I can go in with the yellow liner, and I'm just gonna apply it in the inner corner and fade it onto the rest of the eyeliner. And when you get to the end, just lightly flicker it into the black. And then just for fun, I'm gonna add a couple little dots right here. Actually, I'm gonna do that in orange. So I'm gonna add a couple little dots right here underneath the brow. Now, because the eyeliner is the focus, I want lashes where the eyeliner is still going to peek through, and I honestly doubted this new style of velour lashes. I was like, those are gonna be a little too intense for me. They're called Trust Me, Try It, and trust me, you need to try them to believe it because they look really extreme. So this is the pair right here, and I've already cut them to my length, and they look pretty extreme, right? So I'm gonna show you guys a trick to apply some false lashes, especially if you're a beginner. And it's kind of like a dummy-proof way, I would say. I like to cut them right down the middle, so cut them in half with a little more lash towards the outer V and a little less on the inner V. And cutting them in half just makes the placement a lot easier. I find that when it's a full strip, the struggle I see people run into is that one end will like drag down, or they place it wrong and they're trying to take it one way or the other. If you cut them in half, it's a lot easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these in half. Pick a section of the lash where there's kind of like a gap between the lashes so you're not ruining the style. And I'm gonna start by applying the outer V portion of the lash first and then the inner corner. And I almost forgot to apply some mascara, so I'm gonna apply some mascara before I actually go in with the lashes. Just look at how pretty these are with this eyeliner, and they looked so extreme in the packaging, so the name suits these so perfectly. So trust me, try them, they're bomb. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side off camera to save some time. Now I'm gonna move on to the skin, and with such crazy looking eyes, we wanna keep everything on the face pretty simple. So I'm gonna start by priming my skin with the Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer. And I'm just gonna apply it with a paddle brush just so it goes on really smooth. So I'm just laying it on the skin. That's a lot, I'm not gonna lie. And for foundation, I'm gonna be using the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. And let me just tell you guys, I really doubted this foundation because I've tried other liquid foundations like this, or the ones that come in like droppers, the ones that go from liquid to like a soft powdery matte finish. So I really doubted this foundation, and it is so different from any of those other foundations. It actually leaves a really natural finish on the skin. The main ingredient in here is water, so it's really hydrating. It doesn't leave me looking matte or dry, so I absolutely love it. I highly recommend applying it with your fingers first and then blending it out with whatever tool because it is really light. So I'm gonna use my fingers first. So I'm just gonna do a little couple drops and then just kind of swipe it on my skin before I blend it out with the beauty blender so I don't waste any of it. But the coverage is phenomenal for how light of a texture it is. So same thing with their Aqua Concealer. I absolutely love this. I've been using it non-stop. It just is so light. Both of these products together are so light and have an amazing coverage. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this as a highlight. And I look super pale, so let's warm this up. So I'm gonna bust out a product I haven't used in a long time, but I was always obsessed with it. I think I just tend to forget I have some things and then don't use them. So this is the Becca Lowlight Sculpting Perfector. It's like a perfect cream contour shade. So I'm gonna use this to contour before I bronze my skin. I never do that, but I thought I would show you guys today. And I absolutely love this brush from Zoeva. It's the 109 Face Paint Brush, and it's just perfect for contouring because the shape looks like a little paintbrush. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to the areas that I'm gonna contour and blend it out as I go with a beauty blender. Just look at how perfect that shade is. It's like the perfect amount of taupiness. I think it only comes in one color. I don't think there's multiple colors for this product. Slash, I hope they still carry it. And then before I go in with any bronzer, I'm just gonna go ahead and set with powder. I'm using my Kogan Dough powder and a kabuki brush. So when I powder my face, I like to focus on the areas where I'm gonna be adding bronzer so it doesn't skip on the skin when applying it. So I like to stick to wherever I contoured and then go from there. And I'm doing light patting motions all over. And for bronzer, I'm using my new fave. This is the Glow Together bronzer by Pure Cosmetics. And I'm using a 118 brush to dust it all over my skin. And see how the lower lash line right now looks kind of bland because there's a bunch of yellow eyeshadow, liner, but nothing on the bottom. We want to balance that out, so I'm just going to pick up one of the stripes from the bronzer, probably this one, and just apply that to the lower lash line so there's something there, so it's not so plain. And then you want to do the same thing to the crease, so I'm just going to take my Sigma E40 brush and blend this bronzer together and apply it to the crease just so that there's some definition there and it's not so plain. And while I'm at it with the eyes, I'm just gonna apply some mascara to my lower lashes and then finish off the rest of the face. So just a couple more steps and I'm done. I'm gonna highlight my skin with the Becca Jaclyn Hill Champagne Pop Highlighter and a Dose of Colors setting powder brush. These are brand new, vegan, beautiful, and amazing. And my Champagne Pop actually broke, and I know people always suggest to do the pouring the alcohol into the palette and pressing it in, but I find that even though the product is still the same, the texture is completely different. So I instead like to toss it into a sifter. So now it is a loose champagne pop, and I'm just gonna use this to highlight my skin. Before I go in with the lips, I'm just going to give myself a spritz of this Wet n Wild setting spray. I don't have a review on it yet. I haven't worn it all day, but I'm gonna spray myself with it right now. Dude, I want my skin to look like this all the time. Like plastic. So I'm gonna outline my lips first with OFRA's lip liner in the shade Spicy, and then the lipstick I'm using is Bite Beauty's Buttercream lipstick in the shade Cream. And that wraps up this tutorial. I'm gonna start doing like a little poll on my Instagram of all the looks that I create in a week so you guys can vote on your favorite, and that's the one that I will film and have out later in the week. So definitely go and check out my Instagram so you guys can be a part of the voting process. I would do it here on YouTube, but I don't actually know how I could post several pictures and have you guys vote. So head on over to my Instagram, check it out, vote, because obviously I take your guys' opinions into consideration when creating looks. I don't just kind of like toss these things out there. So go and check it out. If you guys enjoyed this video, thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. So I see you in the next one. Bye guys.